Hello, this is Pastor Sidney, the All Faith Liberation Church, the fourth church of that in Chicago, and I'm going to read you from the scroll we made back in 2022, which documented the background for all the adventures we've thus far had taped in the last 2 years. So from the live action scripture playlist podcast and also the recent playlist of latest from live action scripture. This is the first thing, the adventures we didn't tape or record, but they're really wonderful, and I'm going to read them to you, and hopefully you will enjoy them. And my neighbors are waking up early to praise the Lord, and I'm with them too. God bless you. Turn this up a little bit. Opening to the 14th chapter of Genesis, Melchizedek, king of Salem, returned from victory in the battle against the tyrant of Elam, King Chedorlaomer, ending his 13-year oppression of the 5 kingdoms of the plain, the 5 great cities, Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboim, and Zoar, returning from the battle to free Canaan to find a strange man in his court. When the king asked him who he was, he answered in many names: Pen, Ken, Kitty, Sonny. King Melchizedek began addressing his guests by all these names. Pen allowed the king to know that he was from a world before and after this one, a world where he was many people in one, a world inside where they lived, sometimes coming out of the world outside. Pen allowed the king to call him Pen. Long ago, or in a time long yet to be, the green dragon ate the whole world, the heavens, the sun and moon, the wheel of time and space. She ate God, the devil, and all the nations, leaving the world one thing: the Ouroboros. The prophecy said the green dragon would unite earth and sky. Many had hoped she would bring them together, Mother Earth and Father Heaven, as family once again. Instead, she brought them together the way you might bring 2 pieces of bread together in a sandwich. The green dragon awoke in the 12th chapter of the book of Revelation, and saw the red dragon persecuting the woman giving birth, and burned that red dragon, and nigh smote that red dragon, and chased that red dragon right out of the book. The green dragon followed the words beyond the word, into the world. And she kept flying till she found her old mountaintop, the highest peak overlooking a lake of tears. King Melchizedek, Mel to his friends, and the mysterious stranger named Pen realized through their different visions that some god has stolen Ashura from El, a vision of the green dragon chasing away the red dragon of the apocalypse and protecting the woman, who seems akin to the goddess of birth, the goddess of the earth. The king thinks it might be Baal who stole Mother Ashura away from El, but it might be this red dragon of their vision, or might some other hateful god. It makes the king and his guests wish to find and speak to this alien being from some other world, this green dragon. They set out from the palace towards the east, past any civilization they knew, hoping to find out what happened to their world, and the goddess of their world. Without Ashura, queen of heaven and earth, there is no assurance. You do not even know where your feet go, one in front of the other, across mother's skin, how to feel her touch, her warmth. You don't even know how to be comfortable sitting down, because you're no longer sitting in her lap. All the spirit in the world is not enough to feel at peace. You need God's soul in you, but you need Mother's body to put it. They need to be married, body and soul. The king and his friend called Pen must bring Mother back to Father El, Father Storm, Father Sky, or the world will be forever unbalanced and will eventually go mad. Melchizedek says, O Ashura, I dedicate the sacred pole to you. Come back to El, come back to Salem. So saith the priest king Melchizedek when he got to the mountain. This is episode 2. It had been a long flight, hunting down the great green dragon, the beast the king and his guest, the otherworldly Pen, come to realize is also from another world. An alien to this world, king says, pondering who or what this great force of nature, this wyvern of green, could be. King Melchizedek, his friend Pen, and 5 trusted servants took a human-powered ornithopter, an eagle, whose brain was whomever wanted to pilot it. King Mel took a turn, as did one of the servants, but King took the calm and flew over the lake of tears, which King Mel deduced was the same as the salty Dead Sea. When Pen was flying, picturing in his mind his destination, an unusually tall mountain on the Dead Sea shores that grew right there overnight, almost to the height of the Tower of Babel that God struck down less than a generation ago. He half remembered, half invented the song of an instrument he played in another life. He pictured fellow musicians playing a concert some long ago, or some long time to come, distant and far away world. He listened to it as he flew the several hours it took to get to the mountain of the Green Dragon. The band, he recalled, was known as Zvara Vora, or Living Water. The name of the instrument was a gusli, or guslia. Pen recalled a part of him, some musician he once was in another world, a personality among many that Pen had traveled through to get here, a personality named Mulch. He felt that personality surge through him as he piloted the ship, an insight that wherever he was this other person, this Mulch, had known the Green Dragon who dwelt now into the high mountain. Remembering that personality, that old soul he'd been, Pen gained enough knowledge to recall what had happened to the universe before this one. It had become the Ouroboros, the one being, eating everything else. The dragon, Pen concluded, had vomited up the entire world, this entire universe. King Melchizedek pondered this and knew not what to do. The Green Dragon, meanwhile, looked upon her crystal ball, the great orb of vision and wisdom she'd left behind in her old lair. Now, in her old lair, she pondered the old. It had found its way here, through the worlds, through dimensions and times. From the age in a world lost where these halls were bedecked in opulence, all the splendor and stolen treasures of the worlds, till now here, a barren cave, devoid of her old minions, her servants, her soldiers. None of them were here. She was alone. But had she not always been alone? She found her way to the center of all her caverns atop the tallest mountain in the world to find her crystal ball. It told her that a flying machine was coming hence across her lake of tears. She emerged from a mountain peak, raging in fire. And the great dragon blazed the eagle from the book, and the king of Salem's grand airship fell flaming from the sky into the lake of tears, the Dead Sea. The Green Dragon returned to her tower, her mountain peak, missing King Mel, Pen, and 5 servants, parachuting out onto the lowest rocks of the great mountain. Leaving her emerald afterglow in the desert, the great dragon disappeared back into her mountain. The 7 parachutists landing near a nook in the mountain, leading to a tunnel, they knew not how deep, and faced something strange. Holes in reality. They almost fell in, but they succeeded in staying out side by side, upside downward, off weird, wee-eared word. That's what I saw, friend Penn, as I went out there and there. Advised stay on our side of things. These are the tardigrades that are talking. Penn has 7 tardigrades that were related to the 7 personalities, heroes of his world in Exaltia, the world inside his mind. And they become tardigrades, and they kind of like the 7 spirits of the Elohim, the Pleiades. They've all become this tardigrade. So Penn told his friend the king what his tardigrade, one of 7 tardigrades he had in his little sphere, his little bag, his terrarium, all of whom were psychically connected, so the 6 left in his bag were the same psychic place as the one he'd sent into the world. Penn told what the last one, the first one, saw. These and many other characters scrambled around, scattered and brought together again. Penn saw that to go into the void, that portal, that whatever it was, would lead to nowhere quickly. Not knowing what to do, King Melchizedek had his expert hunter servants trap and bring him 2 turtle doves, which he sacrificed to El and Ashura together, one for each, lovebirds uniting them. Raising a pole nigh the altar, he saith, O Ashura, I dedicate this sacred pole to you. Come back to El, come back to Salem. Meanwhile, episode 3, the great green dragon saw a figure emerging in the midst of her orb, an enemy from worlds and times past. Her enemy, the one that she destroyed the whole world trying to kill. Harm-Ni-Far, the Neanderthal high priestess, who wished to keep Mother Earth to herself and drive away Father Sky. She's returned through the endless mists. The globe, the ball, tells the green dragon, your enemy has returned. She rules over the people known as Anakim. The green dragon sees in the swirls of her crystal orb, sees again the 12th chapter from the book of Revelation, and sees Harm-Ni-Far, the bitter witch queen of the north, vowing to keep Mother Earth forever from Father Sky, and their children forever at war. And the children breathes a gentler fire. The green dragon breathes a gentler fire, considering what she will do. King Melchizedek, his strange companion Penn, and 5 trusted and dedicated servants of the king made their way up through the green dragon's mountain to hear breathing, to feel its fire. Somewhere between the image above and the image below was the face of the green dragon's enemy, a queen of the Neanderthal who killed Jadi and took her place. The green dragon roared, my enemy lives still, my enemy who I destroyed, the whole world trying to kill. And the dragon contemplates what her own visions and the evidence of her own crystal ball tell her. Her enemy has become that one who pimps all the people in the world, riding on her beast of the apocalypse. Harm-Ni-Far is ready to march against all who pray for an axe tall Babylon to fall. Something stirs in a far corner. The green dragon is too enraged that her enemy still lives, enraged that her enemy has an army, evidently of very large old humans, almost orcs. An army of Anakim, the people of Anak, who, under Harm-Ni-Far, are becoming an empire. Too enraged to hear King Melchizedek, Penn, and the servants making their way up through the mountain where they'd crash-landed earlier, till they stood right at the threshold of the throne room of the green dragon. They saw her claw sliding down toward them. In the darkness of the corridor before the throne room, Penn takes out one of his tardigrades and sends it off into the throne room of the green dragon. Putting on his special specs, Penn selects, sends, then collects his tardigrade. He got a good view of the green dragon's most central chamber. He learned and told his friend the king that there were a huge crystal scrying ball in the center of the dragon's 1,000 feet of coils. The dragon was very angry at something he saw there in the scry. Penn and Melchizedek and the king's loyal servants all learned the rage of the dragon and the reason. Evidently her most deadly enemy still lived, and would soon lead an army of Anakim against the whole world. This world that the green dragon wanted for herself. King Melchizedek sends one of his servants, the bravest of them, for most are far too frightened. Into the dragon's lair with what remains of King Melchizedek's patented fire-resistant armor. The servant does as he is instructed. He marches right up to the face of the dragon and says, "I am here at your service, offering you my services." The green dragon accepts its fealty, choosing not to incinerate the fool with her fiery breath, but merely to tap the fellow with a slap of her tail down into her scales. The dragon grins wider than she has since awakening in this world. She has a servant at last, and yea, 4, 5, 6 more. Thinking to offer her gold, thinking to offer her alliance against her enemy, thinking to offer her whatever it is great green dragons eat, King Melchizedek realized the best thing he could offer the beast was what he, his servants, and his friend Pen were giving her without even realizing it or intending it. Slapped up against her ponderous 1,000 feet of scaly skin, tumbling around. The king and his servant and his friends realized what the dragon really wanted. The thing that could really give her was a decent massage. Now picture the formation of smoke into a rainbow sphere. Someone came from nowhere, a fae from far away. Somewhere where here is a long ago and yet to be. The Fey realm, she made herself a globe and almost made herself manifest. But she didn't. She faded back into the mists, finding her place in the book of all reality, having seen a page of dragons and kings, while meanwhile one of Pen's pens sings. The tardigrades say, "We sensed extra-dimensional realities in this reality," such was one of Pen's little guides said. "Fey, fairy, energy, here and gone, maybe it may return? Question mark, question mark. And Pen knew not Pen's new plot, but told the king of Fey I sing. At least one of these little guys perceived a blur beyond its eyes, becoming one with no thing. Maybe a new friend 'twill bring." And the servant looked to his king. "Maybe the fairy could conjure us a round of ales." "Yea," said another. "It helps soften these flexed too often hard as armor scales." There's a lot to do, boys." The dragon made some noise. "You got a lot of work to soften every quirk, every kink, from just behind my ears to the tip of my tail. For only a dead slave be a slave, my love e'er fails. These scales will hug each of you as snug as little jails." Episode 5. After 7 weeks of work, the 7 heroes, King Melchizedek, his 5 trusted servants and Pen, had finally massaged enough of the green dragon's 1,000 cubits of coils that she'd fallen into a deep, grateful slumber. Hearing her finally snoring, finally no longer listening to them, no longer keeping them at their task with a threat she didn't have to make, spitting fire as she laughed now and again, slowly falling asleep. King Melchizedek whispered that they should all sneak away back into the caverns, away from the dragon, while she still slept. But Pen ambled toward the crystal ball in the center of the green dragon central chamber, determined to figure out its ways. Pen came close to it, gazed in, and fell into the world inside. Overwhelmed by the world in the crystal ball, the world of endless text, the endless pages, Pen picked himself up from where one of his cells fell, and looked down into the endless scattered pages to find one word. And. Melchizedek, king of Salem, pulls a magic carpet from his cloak and bids his servants to hop on and follow him into the crystal ball after their friend Pen. First one way, then another, then through. All ways they flew. Over the great sea of ants, and a page that spread throughout the world of the crystal orb. A page Pen penned by focusing on one word, and feeling, and reeling, and reeling, and reading. Pen read himself and knew himself in his and. But it wasn't a tall enough and for him to stand, tall enough for his friends to see him. So Pen took his finger like a finger might take a pen, and made his "and" all caps, then stood tall upon the and rose out of the page. He put his finger down on the page and drew an illustration, an illumination. He drew a clearing in a forest by a lake. He drew a campfire. King Melchizedek consulted with his servants and with his friend Pan, who walked off and onto the carpet. In such a penning as your finger pens, dear Pen, closed to open book. Is it really real, or is it just like that nook we found in the mountainside? Pen wondered and could only answer in a kindred question. Is real what we feel with our finger or with our pen? Never mind, friend, let me try something else. Then I can know if there is an end to my pen's wealth. Then I can know if I can do anything at all in this realm just by taking, as it were, the helm. Before Pen said it, King Melchizedek noted how much the mountainside, the clearing, and the forest by the lake they'd drawn their way to looked like the foot of the green dragon's mountain by her lake, where they had begun their journey to her lair. But there was no trace of their 7 parachutes, of course their ornithopter flying machine, which the dragon had shot out of the sky with her fiery roar, shooting it down over the lake of tears. But now, Pen had penned the ornithopter back. Meanwhile, a fey being hovered over the mortals in the crystal ball sphere, saying nothing. She watched and debated whether at last to manifest herself. Not hiding, but not coming clear, just waiting, watching. Meanwhile, Melchizedek conjures an Ashura pole, makes sacrifice and offerings, gives thanks and praise, begs the woman bearing the child to appear to him and his people again. Please, Ashura, please, mother, please come to us. Please come to us in your breasts. Please come to us in your womb. Please come to us in your power to create. Each of us, the whole universe. Come to us, O Mother Ashura, and come ye back to our father El. The woman called to them from a whirlwind of light. Do you love me, my children? Do you wish to help me find your father El, to join with him again, to be reunited with him and show all of you, my children, how to be one with him again? Yes, called the priest king Melchizedek. Yes, Mother Ashura, I am your servant. We are all your servants. What would you have us do? How can we help you get our father back? Follow me, my children. Follow me into the book. Follow me as I follow him and help me find God again. They sought the goddess, the mother, to return. Now she said 'twas God that should be sought. Following her to the pages men long and sometimes wrought, as if to bury what they themselves must learn, inviting her friends to follow her back and forward and through the endless pages of a codex's chapter and verse. She promises that that though they play and dream, their words are as true as the adventures already screed, and the need to remove the curse of her and he fighting over who should be first, each of us ending up the worst. They looked into the pages, each a step ascending. They flew up through the endless pages, letting the journey become their wings. Episode 6. Pen watched as his friend King Melchizedek and his 5 trusty servants were swallowed into the codex. Yes, I have a question, but there was no one Pen could ask Pen's question. He'd been left alone in the dragon's crystal ball. So Pen drew his way back to the lakeshore, where his campfire was still burning. And his and King Melchizedek's ornithopter still awaited, right by the lakeshore where Pen drew it. Sensing the world trapped inside, the trap world inside the crystal ball, feeling its threads and tendrils, someone who had been floating around wondering if and when to get involved, decided to speak. The fairy says, I see you, pen. Are you, O pen, or closed? Never mind, those are not the words I chose. These were not the words the fairy spoke, not a spoke of her wheel. She didn't know why or how this image of wheel was the way she thought to feel, but she felt threads living and dead, tight round her and everything, too tight right now to sing. These strings she broke. But breaking free, she looked up from pen in her own present order of magnitude to the dragon outside the crystal sphere, asking for a more magnanimous attitude from the object of pen in many a world sphere. To the dragon she phrased, will you grant us, your grace, a way back up to your place from here? A dragon awoke and heard the fairy fae, responding thus to what she and that somewhat familiar human felt to say, saying in her way, yea, I'll bring you all out of there. Come up here, come this way. Penn felt not one, not two, but all seven of his tardigrades buzzing in their bubble. He knew he was back in the place he'd run from. The lair of the beast who'd kept him and King Melchizedek slaving 7 weeks. He knew he was in trouble. He told the dragon everything. Told the little sphere of smoke and rainbows, the fae that brought him here to meet the dragon, yea, he told that fae too about his too long day. My friend King Melchizedek, Penn said, a tone exasperated, honest, was swept away, drawn into a book that came from his prayer to the goddess. Ashura, 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 the fae averred. I believe that name was overheard. Very well, yes, hell, Ashura. My friend was conjuring or conferring or pleading with this goddess to appear, and then my friend disappeared, and the book this goddess conjured to bring us here. Go on, the dragon said. Yes, I shall, me and my pal, the fairy fae, what do you say? Yes, the fae might say today, or might say it another way. That's why I brought you up this way, or better yet to say I helped you, your grace, great green dragon, to make acquaintance, yea. So yes, Penn put it this way, as I began to say, I'm bloody done with this day. Go on, the dragon said. Penn heeded the heat which exceeded the tolerance of his feet, and answered the dragon this way. It's that the endless word, my friend the king fell into it, like he and I almost fell into a nook of weird words at the base of your mountain, and again almost fell into a sea of words in your frozen fountain, your crystal orb. Penn sighed, anyway, I hope my friend and his friends haven't died. The green dragon recalled what she fought and drove out the red dragon who persecuted the woman giving birth to the child. Who was the woman, the goddess, the Ashura, I know her as I well know her? Who or what was this woman looking for? Who or what did she expect you to find in the endless words of the endless word? I believe it was God. God! I ate God and the whole universe, yes? Penn asked this like it was his own test, a test of his worst, a test of the best, something long ago but still burning quest. You ate God, the devil, the goddess of this earth, and more. So saith everything I picked up from songs and lore. So said my friend Melchizedek, so said the thoughts his friends wore. I learned much song and story, the 7 weeks we toiled and tore, the knots in all your sinews, smoothing that which made you sore. Yea, little creature, I did eat all the universe. Why did you do that, ma'am? Your grace. Yes, Penn said, turning to the fae, then turning back did say, yes, your grace, your honor, your majesty. Why did you do that? Got sick of it all. Got frustrated. Got tired of watching everyone do it all wrong. If you ate everyone, Penn wondered, couldn't you just spit them all out? The dragon laughed, roaring laughter. I already have, little creatures. How I spat it all out. I vomited it all up, and there's the shape of this universe now. The god of the sky is stuck in the sky, in a wheel of time as well as space. Your friend, the king's goddess, the Ashura, is, if she is looking for God, got to eventually go up. That book will lead you right up out of the world. And the Fae and the woman from many worlds thought, along with the dragon, whether another fight was in order. Meanwhile, to the north, Harmony Far's army of Anakim was growing. Episode 7. King Melchizedek found himself walking, until he came upon a battle. He saw the sacred thing being torn away from one army and being taken by another army, the Ark of the Covenant. So Melchizedek heard, a word among words that broke him to shivers, as if he'd been given more arrows than he could fit into his quivers. He kept walking, following the ark through the words in the word. 1 Samuel 5:1, NASB translation. Now the Philistines took the ark of God and brought it from Ebenezer to Ashdod. Then the Philistines took the ark of God and brought it to the house of Dagon and set it by Dagon. And when they of Ashdod arose early on the morrow, behold, Dagon was fallen on his face to the earth before the ark of the Lord. Melchizedek and his 5 loyal servants hid in a corner of the Holy of Holies of the temple of Dagon, watching. When the Philistines left the Holy of Holies, putting their idol right, the idol fell again in the night, smashed apart. Melchizedek looked to his servants and commanded, "Let us take the sacred thing, this Ark of the Covenant, away from here." And his servants gathered it up, and the king led them all out of there. The images reverses from these chapters and verses. The sleeping dragon is awake, and the man sleeping in the lake is lying down asleep as the dragon curses. But the fairy Fae urges peace today, seeing being the bridge between day and night, world and word, bridging the traveling through these worlds, unraveling, gazing into the world of the word. Through the fairy's eyes and through the eye of the crystal ball, the great green dragon watched Melchizedek and the servants carrying the Ark of the Covenant through the pages of the world. The dragon vowed to have it for herself. Coming back we were in the first 3 verses of 1 Samuel. Now we're in 1 Samuel 6. So we were in 1 Samuel 5 is the chapter we were in. First 3 verses. Now we're in the 6th verse. But the hand of the Lord was heavy on them of Ashdod. He destroyed them and smote them with tumors. King Melchizedek looked about him. The inhabitants of the land he found himself in, this land of the future, from where he was standing, remembering back eons ago, back in Salem, many books back, when his journey began, were all in a burning misery. They came to him, to his 5 servants who carried the ark behind him, begging him to hasten on his way. They cried to him, "The ark of the God of Israel shall not abide with us, for his hand is sore upon us and upon Dagon our God." They sent therefore and gathered all the lords of the Philistines unto them, and said, "What shall we do with the ark of the God of Israel?" And they answered, "Let the ark of the God of Israel be carried about unto Gath." From the 8th verse of the 5th chapter, Melchizedek says, "Gath?" King Melchizedek didn't know if he agreed with these lords of the Philistines, whether he would carry the ark unto Gath. But he told them, "I assure ye, I shall take this ark unto somewhere outside of this land." "Please," cried all the Philistines of Agdad as they passed, all along their way through Agdad. They cried unto Melchizedek, "Help us with these tumors, these curses, these emerods." Emerods? King Melchizedek realized the nature of the affliction, the type of tumor the poor folk here were cursed with, and he prepared a preparation. A preparation he hopes helps heal Hashem's hate here. Preparation 7H. Melchizedek chanted into the homemade ointment. 7 times 70 blessings into each tube. Once he handed the H's out, he kept his small caravan carrying on till he got to the gates of his old city of Salem. They walked along its walls, looked up into its fortifications. They came through one of its gates into one of its marketplaces, carrying the Ark of the Covenant with them. As long as they're within the text, the king and his servants decide what comes next. If the dragon wants the power of God's holy ark, she shall have to make upon these pages her own deeper mark. In order to capture the power of this text, in order to gain the power which she alone respects, the dragon shall have to gain a larger text, a text which this and all text merely reflects. The dragon must gain the mother book of this and all books. The dragon must capture the true codex. Meanwhile, to the north, Harmony's Far's army of Anakim keeps growing. Episode 8. From 1 Samuel 28, verse 3. Now Samuel was dead, and all Israel had lamented over him and buried him in Ramah, his own city. And Saul had removed from the land those who were mediums and spiritists. And the Philistines gathered themselves together and came and pitched in Shunem. And Saul gathered all Israel together. And when Saul saw the hosts of the Philistines, he was afraid, and his heart greatly trembled. Melchizedek and his 5 trusty servants had gotten the Ark of the Covenant out of the lands of the Philistines back into his own home city of Salem. Only it was no longer Salem. Some now called it Jebus, the land of the Jebusites. Some others said, nay, 'tis called Jerusalem. He was no longer its king. The king of all the land, this King Saul, reigned here, though he was not here now. But king or no, Melchizedek was welcomed into the city. He and his servants bore the Ark of the Covenant with them, and were all thought of as heroes. And when Saul inquired of the Lord answered him not, neither by dreams, nor by Urim, nor by prophets. Melchizedek, even as he rested with his servants, guarding their treasure in a safe room with one of the city's palaces, he felt himself swept into the book of the great codex he was now trapped in. Heard himself swept into the words of this world. Then said Saul unto his servants, seek me a woman that hath a familiar spirit, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servants said to him, behold, there is a woman that hath a familiar spirit in Endor. Melchizedek, king from long ages past, looked with his servants to the king of this age, looking on with his servants. And he felt and saw the presence of the power of the woman, the goddess Ashura, right here in Endor. Even though the witch, the sorceress, had the power to raise the dead, she feared to do it. For the king of this age, King Saul, lord not only of one city, but of all the land, this king had outlawed the worship and magic of the goddess here. The wise woman, the witch, cried out to this unfortunate King Saul, who begged her to bring back the old prophet Samuel who had made him king. But the woman said to him, surely you know what Saul has done. He has cut off the mediums and spiritists from the land. Why have you set a trap for me, my life, to bring about my death? Who begged her, for he had lost God and could hear him not, whilst the powerful nations plotted his kingdom's destruction. And Saul swore by her the Lord, saying, as the Lord lives, there shall be no punishment happen to you for this thing. The witch of Endor brought the life to the dead, in a vision or a memory, in a living flesh. Prophet Samuel chastised the unfortunate king, rebuking him for bringing him back to life, leaving the poor wretch starving, sad, unable even to eat. From 1 Samuel 28, verse 21, the woman came to Saul and saw that he was terrified and said to him, behold, your maidservant has obeyed you, and I have taken for my life in my hand, and have listened to your words which you spoke to me. Now therefore I pray you listen, you also to the voice of your handmaid, and let me set a morsel of bread before you, and eat. The king refused, and again, but by the end of the night, though despised by God and abandoned, though his kingdom was coming apart, though enemies beset him on every side, mercy was shown in the God-forsaken king by the kindness of a nameless woman. And the woman had a fat calf in the house, And she hurried and killed it, and took flour and kneaded it. And she brought it before Saul, and brought it before his servants, and they did eat. Then they rose up and went away that night. The woman of Endor, the witch of Endor, sensed another king, another older king. She reached out to him and shared a psychic sip of her artemisia, a jar which hung in a talisman round her neck. King Melchizedek shared the artemisia, the ambrosia, the witch of Endor shared with him. The psychic sip led to a psychic trip, picturing, feeling the celestial spheres. The witch of Endor and the king of Old Salem tasted the vision together, imbibing the knowledge that they were inside something larger than the world around them. Following the feeling they drank in, following the feeling out. As a dragon looked in, "Wake up!" Penn's eyes opened. He found himself far from that stone circle, with a broken altar looking with the mighty dragon into her jar. "Get out of my cave!" "But where can I go?" The dragon looked, her fires dying down. She pointed into the crystal ball. "You can go down into the world of the book that your friends who massaged me so well escaped down into. Go ye down into that hell. And get me that ark. Steal it from your friend King Mel." Of course I will, your greatness," Penn stammered. "Just set me down there, and I won't return. Not until you secure the thing and spirit it away, and bring it back to me." So thought the dragon as she wrought Penn's wagon, or rather his flight, kicking him ass over head down into the book and out of her sight. The fairy Fae appeared and disappeared and was here again and was a sphere again, but she just watched as Penn went down into the sphere of the crystal. She watched as Penn told Melchizedek and the servants that witch of Endor what the dragon had sent him down for. "I was sent to steal the Ark of the Covenant for the great green dragon, who even now gazes down upon our world in this codex, as if upon a tasty bit of fruit she wants to eat." And just like that, everyone in the whole world felt a hateful heat. "But I cannot help but hope," the witch of Endor said, "that the great green dragon cannot want all of us dead." The lady of Endor thought this hateful heat might be ended with something sweet. "With my artemisia, my ambrosia, my honey, could we not offer the dragon friendship? As you did, Melchizedek, and ye too, Penn, massaging many a scale. To offer friendship to the friendless indeed cannot fail. Why don't we offer the poor old beast a little bit, the best of a bake sale?" Melchizedek shrugged. Penn was bugged. The great dragon is nary one to be hugged, but she might well be one to hug. Embracing like a python this planet, she tugged from its orbit, the world wobbling like it's drugged, convincing them to hide under blankets, under rugs. "Where can we go?" "Quick," Penn told them, urgent and emboldened. "Get ye all into me, into the book I've been and might always be." Tasting some more of the woman of Endor's elixir, King Melchizedek, his servants, these six, her, all crossed into the cone Penn's forehead 7. After he requested that she bested his poem, knocking him, choking him, then crossing through him home. The 7 heroes crossed into the 8th one's tome. Whilst the 9th hero, the fairy heroine, unwrapped herself and buried them, deep in a world they'd never known. Meanwhile, the great green dragon turned away from her prey as they flashed away, turning instead to someone who should already be dead. Her enemy, Far Harmony, who her crystal ball told her stood tall with an army of Anakim to the north. The dragon spat fire, roared, then sallied forth. Roaring, "I'm a roast my enemy's host, But my enemy herself, when I cut her from her wealth, when her armies lose their last strength and health, that's when I shall make sure she surely shall die very, very slow. That's what I want the most. Episode 9. This is inside Pen's head now, the inside of the world of Exaltia, which we've been we've explored that world, but we're going to explore it again here.